You talked about people from different ages, different backgrounds coming together, and that's really been in my mind these last few days, because did you see the Hope Not Fear report about divided Britain?
Yeah.
Because obviously Northern College, where I worked, is based in Barnsley. I think in some ways Covent Garden and Barnsley couldn't be further apart in terms of the constituencies that they draw from. And for me, I think one of the joys of having an adult education college in Barnsley, well, no, two joys, I think, was firstly that possibility of drawing lots of people from different backgrounds together, different ages, different ethnicities, different religions. And a very powerful thing for me was one of our Muslim students who was at college, lived in college for a year, used to wear a headscarf, saying that normally she would never think of speaking to somebody who was a drug addict or an alcoholic, because it was just something that was just too awful and too threatening. And she said that coming to college had really opened her eyes to the fact that these were people who were just the same as her. And that was, I thought, wonderful. And we've had lots of similar sort of comments, but the other way around, people saying that they wouldn't expect to talk to a Muslim woman wearing a headscarf, but college had opened their eyes.
I'll take the mickey out of you a little bit about northern perception of Covent Garden.
Okay.
Covent Garden has an enormous amount of social deprivation, but it's mostly hidden.
Right.
Now, for us at the college, we actually have a real socio-economic mix. Yeah, in the evening we have a lot of people who come after work, and they're accountants and lawyers and people who've got jobs, and on the surface high-powered jobs who are very successful. Not to say that they do not feel huge mental health pressures, they do not feel huge amounts of stress, etc., and probably quite a lot of them aren't really enjoying their lives. But during the daytime, what I love about the college is the real mix of, there are quite a few retired, well-to-do people, but we also cater for a lot of people who've had drug addiction, who've been homeless, who've actually fallen out of conventional society. And City Lit has really provided that re-entry. Also the other bit, and being the central location, means that of course we're in quite a glamorous bit of London, but actually what it means is it's also very easy for people with transport routes to get in from the harder, the less economically successful parts of London. And the other bit that I'm intensely proud about the college is the non-geographic communities that we attract. So I think there's a real bit about the country is always labelled into postcodes and economic deprivation, etc. But one particular group that's very close to my own heart is the adult deaf community. Now, I often joke with ministers and civil servants is that it would be terribly convenient for you if all the deaf lived in NW10, or all the people that have an adult stammer lived in West 14. Yes. I mean, that would be really convenient, but it actually isn't the way it works. So for us, being the leading deaf education centre in the country, we're able to, by our central locations, bring people in from across London and from outside London to actually come and get that centre of expertise. Now, one of the great shames really around a lot of specialisations in the country is that they've died out. So, you know, adult stammering, where we support a lot of students, but nowhere near as many who have the challenges of disfluency. Actually, if you look at the stats around acquired hearing loss, people who lose their hearing later on in life, it's an epidemic. They're saying by, I think it's 2030, it'll be nearly 15 million people. 50% of people over 70 have some form of hearing loss. Now, actually, lip reading is either as an alternative to or in conjunction with hearing aids is a very, very good alternative for avoiding social isolation, for avoiding all of those problems. Now, actually, if you're in a small town in the West Country, or if you're in a major city in the north of England, the chances are you do not have access to lip reading. And it's, again, not the idea that only just people in the well-to-do big cities that get access to this. So for me, I think community and communities is something that we have to look at going back to your point about mixing people up, I do really love the fact that you'll be having a lady who'll be going off to the opera in the afternoon after being at her Italian class at City Lit, sitting next to somebody who has literally lived on the streets and had a drug and drink problem.
Yes.
And they'll be sitting in the cafe together, having a nice little chat.
And actually, sorry, go on.
That's just the melting pot. So I would say it's not just Barnsley that has this. We
But-
do this in London too.